historic things together, and when they would go off on a trip, it was kind of scary for those of us who were left behind, wondering what was going to happen on that journey. And if I may, I would like to read you just one page of this gift that Charlie gave to me at my father's memorial. It says, Claude and the Cops in Mexico. Hard to say what it was, and this is Charlie's writing, hard to say what it was that first drew me to Mexico. It probably helped that in my childhood I had a grandmother who lived in La Jolla. I spent a couple of weeks there with my mother and brothers most every summer, and we made a few family trips to Tijuana. During college, I really caught the bug. I spent one Christmas vacation driving with a girlfriend down to Mulegé in Baja, and a couple of years later traveled with my older brother by bus and train to spend New Year's in Mazatlan. I guess what fascinated me was simply how very foreign it was, this place that stood so close by. That's about as far as I was going to get with Mexico, because I never mustered the discipline or persistence to learn Spanish. But then I met Claude. I was a reporter at the local paper in Ukiah, and Claude turned up as the subject of a story I was covering. We became friends, and for some reason in 1986, we concocted a scheme to get a first-hand look at the secret war the U.S. was perpetrating in Nicaragua. We hit upon a plan to refurbish a beat-up but hardy little Datsun four-door and drive it through Mexico and all the way to Managua. It was an adventure, an education, and the foundation for a lifelong friendship. Claude was older than me, but he had grown up in Mexico and so naturally assumed the role of interpreter to my journalist. His services could be pretty sporadic depending on mood, circumstance, and subject, and it was never that clear who was leading our inquiry, but we became a team. Half a dozen times in the years that followed, we found time and reason to return to Mexico together. Sometimes we had a journalistic mission, but more often not. A couple of times it was just to bring my truck to see a cut-rate mechanic. Fast forward to the spring of 2015. I had just come through 6 weeks of radiation and chemotherapy treatment, and then 6 months of recovery to block an aggressive and lethal cancer. For his part, Claude was fighting a protracted and losing battle against the combined effects of age and Parkinson's disease. I had a hankering to bust out, to get on the road, to cut loose, and burn some miles and do some living while I still could. I wanted to head back into the wilds of Mexico with my trusty sidekick Claude. He was feeling the same thing, and we decided to make the run. When